Hello and welcome back to the Real Estate Regroup Show. I am your host, LJ Walker. I want to add my 2 cents to some of the videos that I have been seeing around that says how to never go broke again. Well, since I'm a 53-year-old black woman and I've been through it all, I want to just share my journey. Now, I want to emphasize and preface to say I'm not a financial advisor, therapist, none of that. Okay. I'm just a working woman who's also an investor. And this is what I have to say on this particular issue. Yes, I agree with many of the videos out there that say that you do need a financial education. Financial literacy is definitely important. You need to start saving. You need to improve your credit. You need to manage your debt. It also helps, and you do need to learn to invest. Those things, without question, is definitely important. But what I see that many people fail to mention is that there are other things that contribute to people going broke that oftentimes is swept under the rug or is not addressed at all. Okay, it's beginning to a little bit, but even those people who specialize in what is known as like financial therapy, they don't always come to the forefront on it. And then I'm going to also touch on something that many people are afraid to talk about. But since I'm making this personal, all right, I'm going to just let it all out. All right. One of the main things that people or that affected me, like I said, let me make it personal, okay, is that when times got rough for me, my relationship with God definitely helped me out a whole lot. I can give you the example where at the last year of college, I didn't have enough money to finish. And I thought that I would have to drop out of college, get a job. I didn't even pray. I said, oh God, and I kind of was crying, right? Next thing, I got a phone call asking me if I wanted a scholarship. You see what I'm saying? So sometimes, a lot of times we don't trust God with those type of issues. We think because money has been demonized so much in the church for so many years that if you want money, it's equated to you being greedy. But many people don't necessarily want it. They need it. They need it to put food on the table. They need it to keep a roof over your head. There's nothing wrong with going to God. And honestly, with my experience, you don't even have to pray. You just need to cry out. Okay? So you're developing a relationship with God, speaking with Him, does help. It really, truly does. I know that sounds crazy to some people, but it really did and truly did happen to me. Okay? The next thing, again, because when I graduated college, guess what? Finding a job was very difficult because there was a recession during that particular time. And when I finally found something, I did volunteer work, then after volunteer temp, and then a permanent job. I had to do it that way just to do something and to also sort of like fulfill myself as far as not, going down, because I felt my self-esteem lowering during that particular time period. Okay, which is natural. That's what happens when you get rejected so many times. A lot of times you think that the problem is you when you don't realize the system is rigged to a certain degree. Okay? And So after establishing myself, after having a permanent job, after being there for a number of years, money was something that I still worried about and I was still concerned about. So then I heard the Holy Spirit. I was, praying, communicating with God, and I heard the Holy Spirit say to me, you shouldn't worry about money, but you should worry about relationships. I didn't really question it. I just started to go out there a little bit more, meaning I started to go to meetup groups. I started to get more involved in the church that I was at that particular time. And I just did what I could do in order to reach out. I also started to go to, there was like a real estate club. And I was going there at first when I could, because the hours were not necessarily conducive for me. And then I just forced myself and pushed myself to go more and to develop more relationships with more people. And I have to say to you guys, that definitely worked. Because when you learn from, there are things that the books can't teach you. There are things that school is not going to teach you. You learn by listening to what other people are saying and seeing what it is that they are going through. Okay, that's another way to learn. And like a lot of times people, they're too embarrassed to share some of their bad experiences. So you really literally have to be there and witness it for yourself, or become a friend to them so that they can actually develop trust in you. And that they know, okay, I can trust her with this information. I know she's not going to tell everybody. And you'll see that even though I might share certain things that my friends went through, I don't name their names on the video. And I still haven't shared everything. And I probably won't share everything with you guys because I was sworn to secrecy on certain issues. You understand me? So developing a relationship with others definitely help. Now, I haven't gotten to this particular point yet, but one guy said to me that if he were to lose everything that he had, when it comes to money, when it comes to real estate, when it comes to stocks, he says that one thing he does have is he has friends that he knows and family that he knows that will definitely have his back, that will definitely loan him some money, or just give him money and not expect him to pay back, because he knows that he can pay them back in another kind of way. You know what I mean? So like they might hire him for a job, for example, in exchange for money, and not just give him money like that. You do have, you can actually set up certain situations, and he has it set up that way. I'm not sure if I have it that way. I mean, I know, like, for example, my mom is definitely there for me. If I were to fall down, I believe, whatever little she has, she would stretch out and reach out to me. And then I have an aunt that she will do whatever she can. She might not be able to give me money, but she might be able to, get certain things for me that I might not be able to get for myself. All right. As far as everybody else, I have to admit there's still a question on that particular issue, but there is currency in how you treat people. There is currency in developing trust. Let me tell you something too. Everybody doesn't even have to like you in order to trust you. Because believe it or not, on my job, there are people that don't like me at all. Can't stand me at all. But they know that if I'm not going to be somewhere, I'm going to tell them. Or there may have been a miscommunication or a misunderstanding, and sometimes they know that was the case. But when it comes to like being a reliable person, and when I'm there, they know I'm going to do the work. Am I saying that I never make mistakes? No, I do make mistakes, but I always make an effort. Like, there are some people that you really can't count on for anything. I'm not that girl. I'm not her. You understand? So even though I would say, to be honest, even with the friendship, I have more associates than friends. I have more affiliates than friends, right? Adversaries than friends. But even with the ones that are my enemies, they know that if they want certain things done, or if they just want certain things, period, I am the only one. I am her. You understand me? So that's why relationships with other people is also important. Okay. Then there's lastly, I would also say there's the relationship that one has with themselves. Okay. Give you an example. For a long time, I did idolize other celebrities. Sometimes if I saw them with something, I would say, okay, I want that too. Don't need it, but I just wanted it. Okay. That I have learned that that's not good, because that affects how I spend my money. And that money that I spent on that frivolous item, I could have saved that in the bank and bought something else that actually appreciates and makes money for myself. Okay. Then the other thing is that I had the habit of emotional spending, meaning sometimes when I felt depressed or sad, I would go shopping. This was a long time ago. This was like in my 20s. And then what did not help was the fact that there were times when I worked in areas where it was a shopping district, or the shopping district was not too far. Meaning, when I got off the train, I had to pass a whole bunch of stores before I actually got to the job. So what did I do? I learned to walk on the next street over that did not have clothing stores. And I walked down that block instead. As a matter of fact, there was one time when I had walked down another block, and there were stores there, but they were factories. So you was able to get like sometimes the same or something similar at a much cheaper price. So trust me when I say, don't walk down like the main fashion roads. Walk down a block over, 2 blocks over, and then come back around to, wherever your destination needs to be. So that this way you can, that is what helped me overcome emotional spending, is watching where I walk. Then I also said to myself, there are other alternatives too. Massages feel good, right? This is later on. So instead of rewarding myself with a new outfit, or rewarding myself with something to eat, I saw that there are, we have massage chairs and massage pads and things like that. So I just plug them in. You buy it one time and it lasts for years, right? So it's a great investment that definitely saves you a lot of money. Okay. So guys, in the end, just so that sort of like to wrap things up, your relationships matters with God, with others, and most importantly, yourself. Okay. It is tied into financial literacy. Trauma, sometimes, I know they don't have this term. I don't think they do. But your traumas sometimes make you spend money in a certain way, even when you're investing. Some people, when they invest in stocks, they'll say, oh, so-and-so bought this stock, so I'm going to go buy it. Or, oh, this company is doing well right now, so I'm going to buy that particular stock without actually doing the necessary research that's needed in order to make a smart choice, without even understanding how does the market work. That goes back to financial literacy. But yet and still, there are so many people that will be like, oh, I'm going to buy this because so many people bought this and they made money off of it. Not knowing that sometimes some people lie and they're not making as much money as they tell you that they made. And sometimes the reason why they made that much money is because they ripped somebody off in the process. But that's another story. Even with real estate, some people will be like, oh, so-and-so went to Georgia and they made all this money. Some so-and-so bought this size family house and they made so much money. But do you know that market? Did you do your research? No, you just throw your money at something because a celebrity is endorsing it, or you throw your money at something because someone else told you, or they look like. Sometimes people don't even tell you anything. They look a certain way, and because they look a certain way, people make the assumption that they made all of this, that, and the third, and they might not have done that at all. That's one of the reasons why, believe it or not, there are a lot of people who are real estate investors and still have a regular job on the side. Because a lot of times you master how to make money, but you might not have mastered how to save on taxes, especially since the tax game keeps changing so often. Not to mention the health insurance situation. There are a lot of people who have successful businesses but still work on the side for health reasons. And then, the other things that I wanted to mention too, besides the relationships that we have, and looking honestly at the relationships that we have, both with God, other people, and ourselves. Because sometimes we're not honest with ourselves either. That's another issue. That's another problem. But we also can't be afraid to change. If you don't move with the flow and the change of the time, that will actually, and you're stuck, you stay stuck, a lot of times that'll keep you broke. You need to learn, okay, we see we have a president here that's cutting back on a lot of programs, but there's a lot of programs that he hasn't cut. Also, let me ask you this. How many of you have procrastinated? That's an issue. There's still grants out there. Have you applied? Have you spoken to anybody in regards to your finances? Have you checked out needhelppayingbills.com? Have you gone to a financial empowerment zone? Okay, so like I said, there's so much more to financial education or financial literacy than what has typically been brought to the forefront. It's about faith. It's about your relationships. It's about self-love, and it's about continuous growth. So my advice is keep learning, keep loving, and keep the faith. That's how you do your best to not be broke or go back to being broke. All right, guys. So hopefully the information that I've shared will help you make smart financial moves. Feel free to pass this amongst your friends. Remember, each one, reach one, teach one. Bye for now. Until next time, have a good night.